Welcome back to another episode of Ham Radio Playground. In this episode, we are going to continue our series on Winlink. We'll be covering how to create a message, how to create a message with a form, how to create a peer-to-peer message, as well as the different type of protocols for sending these messages. Let's get started. All right, we are back in Winlink. And to start with, our inbox is empty. We have not sent and received. We just set this up in our last video. If you haven't watched that, if you haven't followed the playlist in our Winlink series, I highly recommend you start there, get yourself your feet wet with Winlink and get it installed on your computer along with VARA HF and VARA FM so that you have some transportation methods for sending your messages. So over here on the side, we have our system folders, just like regular email. You know, if you use Gmail or Yahoo Mail or any of the other email providers, you'll have an inbox, you have an outbox, you'll have sent items, drafts, deleted items. Those all get stored in there just like regular email. So the first thing we want to do is we want to come up here to message. We're going to click on message. We're going to say new message. And it prompts us with this box. As you can see, it's already pre-filled in my call sign because we set that configuration up. Again, that was the previous message on installing Winlink, or the previous video, not message. Whoa! Way to go, Kevin. So we have options of post to Outbox, select a template, attachments, spell check, save and drafts, and close in our menu. We have an option to send it as a Winlink message, which is by default. You can do a radio-only message or a peer-to-peer message. So a peer-to-peer message would be if you are connecting with a single other operator. You both pick a frequency and you'll do a peer-to-peer connection where your two computers connect over the radio waves, and then you can send that message back and forth. If you have it set as a regular Winlink message and you do a peer-to-peer connection, they won't get that message because the Winlink message is looking for a connection to an outbound Winlink server to send the message to and be processed like standard email. On peer-to-peer, it'll be able to interface as long as the other connection that you're making is the person you're sending the message to or is authorized to receive on behalf of another call sign. So we're going to do Winlink message to begin with, right? You can request a message receipt, just like you can in regular email. You can see when somebody gets it. You have the option to set it to a CC, a subject, and add attachments. So we're going to keep this very simple to begin with. And we are just going to send a basic message. So I'm going to start with somebody I know checks Winlink pretty frequently because I'm going to send this message and they'll probably respond. K2VTT. Now you can put a call sign in there, right? You can put a regular email address in there. Provided you're connected to a Winlink receiving server that's connected to the internet, it'll go through. You can also receive messages from the internet into your inbox on here. And I cover that a little bit in one of our other videos. In order for somebody to do that, to stop spam, there's some additional steps that that person needs to do, or they need to be added to your contacts in order for the messages to be received. And you can do that through the Winlink website as well. You can add people into your contacts. So we're going to put John in there. And I'm going to say testing from Winlink training video. And you just type your message. So we're going to say, hello, John. This is a test message from our Winlink video training series. 73 KE2DF Q. That is me. All right. So now we've created this message, right? So just like creating a regular email, we have our person we're sending the email to. We have our subject line. We have our message. We could add an attachment if we want. We're not going to on this message. Maybe we haven't completed our message yet. We need some more information. At that point, we could push it over to our drafts. But in my case, we're ready. We're done, right? So we're going to say post to the outbox. Now, this does not send the message. It simply queues the message for sending the next time you connect over a Winlink message protocol. It will send this message out. Now, I specify that because we did set our type as Winlink message. Remember, we talked about there's a couple different types, radio only and peer-to-peer. We're sending it as a Winlink message, so when we connect via the Winlink transport or session, it will go out. So we're going to say post to the outbox. So we have that message in there, right? So now we could turn around and say, okay, let's do a new message. And we're going to call it a peer-to-peer message. And I'm going to do the same thing. K2VTT. And we're going to say test P2P video training series. Job. This is a test message sent via P2P, which is peer-to-peer, for our video training series. And he's going to love that I'm blowing up his mailbox. 73 K2 DFQ. Now, if I didn't put my call sign at the end, he's still going to know it comes from me because of the way the message is received. It has just like a regular email. It gives you who sent the message to you. So we're going to go ahead. So we have this set as a peer-to-peer, and we are going to post it to our outbox. So now we got two messages in our outbox waiting to go out, right? One's a peer-to-peer, one's a Winlink message. So let's show you another type of message that you could send. We're going to come over here to messages, and we're going to say new message again. We're going to leave it set as Winlink. But maybe we're checking into a net, or maybe we are using a specific form to request something. So we're going to use this select template. Now, if you watched our previous video when we did the install, there was a bunch of forms that it told us it had to update and download. And I told you periodically that you'd be prompted to update new forms when they came out. We go over and say select template. And now we have this list. We have global templates. So maybe you're part of a bigger network that has its own templates it uses internally. Or maybe I have my own forms that I created. They would go under my template, right? Or we can use the standard one. So let's hit this little plus sign. We'll come down to standards. And as you can see, there's ARC, California State, Canadian forms, FEMA, general forms, medical forms, Hawaii, so on and so forth, right? So maybe your organization uses a specific form. We are going to go under general forms, and I'm going to simply select Winlink check-in. So I want to double click Winlink check-in, and now you're going to see it takes me out to a web browser, right? And this is a form that's preset. Now don't freak out because it's not going to send it like this. It's going to take all of the information we put into this form and convert it to a text version. So we are going to say this is Winlink training. And it's already pre-populated my date and time. Who am I going to send it to? We're going to say K2VTT. It's from me. Station contact name. Put my name. I'm going to put my initials. It's an exercise, not a real event. We're using amateur, not the shares network. The band, I am going to say Telenet. But from here, you could choose whether you sent it HF, VHF, UHF, or SHF. The session is Telenet packet, Packor, Robust, VARA HF, VARA FM, Iridium Go, or mesh. As you can see, this can be used. Winlink can be widely used across various transportation methods. But in our video series, we're focusing on Telenet, VARA HF, and VARA FM. So I am going to leave it as Telenet and Telenet, and I'll explain why here in a minute when we go to send these. I am going to say ONONDAGA, A, county, ARES, portable network. It pre-fills in my latitude and longitude based on my grid square. This is a test for our training video series. My brain works faster than my hands do, right? Showing how to complete a form via Winlink. All right, so now I could save this check-in data, or I can submit it. I'm ready to submit it. I have everything I need. If you save it, then you have this load check-in data button that you could click to be able to retrieve the one you were working on. Kind of like a draft message, right? Set up here if you want to put some additional agency information or group title or anything else. But we're good. This is just a training series we're going to test. Now, when I hit the submit button, you're going to see that the form disappears and it converts it all to text and puts it right into our message. Yep, that's the subject line. Boom. Good to go. Oh, look at that. Here's everything I completed. It attached the text file with an XML file and gave me all of the information that we just typed into that form in here. So now all we have to simply do is say post to our Outbox. And all of that form data then goes over to John and shows what we completed. All right, stop. Hold that thought. I wanted to jump in here because there was something I forgot to mention in the video as we were going through this. If you need somebody to test sending these messages as you're trying this out, please feel free to use my call sign, Kilo Echo 2, Delta Foxtrot, Quebec. And I'm happy to receive your messages and send you back a reply when I get it. That way you know it's working, because it doesn't do you any good to just send it to somebody that's not checking or somebody that's not going to receive your message and be able to give you that verification that, yes, it is working. So, all right, back to the rest of the training. So now I've got 3 messages in my Outbox. So we're going to come over here and you can see that I have all 3 of these, right? So why are they not going out? Kevin, why are they not sending? I completed them. Because we haven't initiated a transportation method for our emails to go out. So if your computer that you have Winlink installed is connected to the internet, you can use this method called Telenet. It'll use the internet to send and receive those messages. If you have it configured with your radio, and various radios have different methods of connecting and completing them. You know, my ICOM 7300, it's a USB cable that goes to the computer. Easy. My Zygu X 6200, again, USB cable direct in. Something like my Asus 891, I need a digi-rig or some kind of sound card. So something even like this, a USB sound card adapter. Ooh, one way or another, I'll get it in the camera, right? Can be used. Signal Link is another one. What's out there? Rig Blaster, I think. There's all kinds of different methods. Sometimes you need specific cables. So depending on your radio to connect to it. If you got the luxury of having a radio that's a direct USB port in, beautiful. And we'll get into some of the radio configurations and how to set those up in another video in this series. Don't panic, don't stress. Today we're focusing just on the Telenet method. We've created our messages. We've learned how to send them to the Outbox so that they're ready to go. And now we're going to connect so that it can send them out back and forth. So if you've been around computers and the internet for a while, you may have been used to a time when we didn't have high-speed internet in majority of our houses, and we had to connect via a modem to dial into the internet. This is the equivalent process of it. Your email didn't go until you connected on that modem to the internet. So whether we're using Telenet, we're using VARA HF or VARA FM, we have to tell our modem to connect. So Telenet goes over our internet connection and the VARA goes over our radio connections. So we created 3 messages. 2 of them were Winlink messages. 1 of them was peer-to-peer. You notice we have Winlink connections and then we have peer-to-peer connections. So if I go up here and hit Telenet Winlink and I say open a session, it's going to go out, verify I can connect to the internet and tell me it's ready. So let's take a look at the settings real quick. And there's nothing we really have to change in here for the average user. So if you wanted to use a relay, you could use a relay. So if you were on a private network and you had one machine that was connected to the internet, that would be your relay. It would need some additional software from Winlink to be able to do that. And that's some of the stuff that's in the sysop section in the last video when we downloaded and installed. Our auto connect time. So if you want it to automatically send and receive on a schedule so that, you pop in here and you got new messages in the inbox. I personally don't turn that on because I use multiple computers, multiple connections. So I kind of like to control when it's sending and receiving. Background monitoring and message uploading. Right now that's disabled. You can kind of turn that on so that if you put a message in the outbox, it'll go immediately. That's handy if you're working in an environment where you're processing forms quite a bit and you need them to go as soon as you say send. So, but in our case, we're just testing this out. We're doing some training. So we're going to say update. So now it's going to go back out and put in our settings in. Boom, it's done. So that's all there was for settings. So we're going to go over here. We're ready to make our connection. We're going to click start. It went out, it connected to Winlink, and as you can see, boom, it's sending. And I received a message that was sent to me yesterday. I haven't connected since then for part of a training that we did as our local Aries races, and we had to get on and practice all of what we're going through. So it went through, this is just a dialogue of what it did. It was saying, hey, it's me, I'm connecting. My call sign, I got messages to send. Oh, I got a message for you. So, it sent my 2 and then said, hey, I got one for you, and it received it. So we're done. I can hit exit. And if we go back to our outbox, we still have 1 message in there. Why didn't it send all 3? Well, if you remember, I said one of them was a peer-to-peer message. That will not go until I connect peer-to-peer to that individual. So I would have to coordinate with John to figure out when he was going to be on, have to get my radio on. We'd have to match up on the same frequency, find a frequency that's clear, and then have our 2 computers talk together on that frequency. And then that peer-to-peer message would be exchanged. So as you can see, it did send my other 2 messages, including the one with the form, as it's got an attachment. So my inbox has the message that came in for me. So that's it in a nutshell on how to create a message, post it to the outbox so that it's ready to transmit and send the next time you make a connection. In our next video, we will go over VARA HF and VARA FM. They require a couple additional settings, like specifically to your radio, and we'll cover some of the common radios out there and settings that I'm aware of to make it easier for connecting your radio to Winlink. If you do FT8, FT4, or any of the other digital methods, and you're using something like WSJTX, you probably already have the setup you need. You have your radio interface to your computer. All we got to do is add the configuration to VARA and Winlink, and we're golden. If you have not done that yet, well then, we're going to have some additional pieces of hardware or cables, or depending on the rig you have, some pieces that we got to make talk. Got to make the computer talk to the radio in order for that message to go out. So hopefully you found value in this video. You're gaining knowledge from this series. I would love a thumbs up on the video. Post a comment if you got any questions. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, hey, go subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click that bell notification so you get notified when we publish new videos. Alrighty, time to kick my sand off my feet, get out of the sandbox, and get back to work. 73.